This is CBC Here and Now.
Well, it's a warm start to the weekend, but this cold front is going to cool things down.
CERT-NL confirms it's investigating 4 police officers in relation to sexual offense complaints.
This is very, very disturbing and upsetting to be a member of the community where so many people are coming forward with these very grave allegations.
We'll have more on Here and Now.
It's been 1 whole month since the Newfoundland and Labrador government started enforcing COVID-19 vaccine passports.
We have a takeout, so they can come in. They don't need to show me their card, only the person who's dining in, which didn't make any sense.
You'll hear from businesses on how that's going coming up.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Anthony Germain.
And I'm Peter Cowan in for Carolyn tonight.
CBC has learned that the province's Serious Incident Response Team is investigating 4 police officers for alleged sexual offences. 2 officers are retired and police aren't saying if the others are still working or if they have contact with the public. Here Now's Mark Quinn reports.
CERT-NL is investigating 3 RNC officers and 1 RCMP officer in relation to alleged sexual offences. Mike King, the director of the province's police oversight agency, says 2 of the RNC officers are retired. 1 is not. He didn't provide more information on the RCMP officer. CBC asked if any of the officers in question continue to have contact with the public, but neither police force would confirm if the officers are working or retired or if they're in positions that bring them in contact with the public. Lawyer Lynn Moore wants more information.
I believe the public have a right to know if they are encountering people who are under investigation for such serious matters, such as sexual assault. In particular, I think women would like to know whether or not the person who's pulling them over is possibly a suspect in a sexual assault.
Last summer, lawyer Lynn Moore said she heard from more than a dozen women who said they were sexually abused by police. She said the complainants named more than half a dozen RNC officers. And now she says she doesn't know if CERT heard from the same women that she did.
I do know this is very, very disturbing and upsetting to be a member of the community where so many people are coming forward with these very grave allegations against people who really hold a lot of power.
As for protecting police identity, Moore doesn't think disclosing if an officer works with the public poses any risk.
I don't see that they could possibly identify anyone if they merely said this person has contact with the public or person does not have contact with the public. There are a lot of jobs in the RNC where people do not have in-person contact with the public.
Moore said disclosing has been painful for those who've spoken with her.
It's very difficult to talk about sexual assault.
She wants to remind people that sexual assault is always the perpetrator's fault, never the victim's. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
The return to a more normal life is on the way for children. Health Canada has approved the Pfizer vaccine for 5 to 11-year-olds.
Kids have endured quite a bit during this very long pandemic trajectory as it stands. We need to do everything that we can to help them stay in school and regain some of that normality. And it will allow them to participate more in some of the fun things that they want to do as well.
Health officials say children in that age group have the highest incidence of COVID-19 infections. Pfizer says its vaccine is nearly 91% effective at preventing the disease among 5 to 11-year-olds. The pediatric dose is 1/3 the full dose given to those 12 and older. Like adults, they will have to get 2 shots at least 3 weeks apart to be fully vaccinated. So what does that mean for vaccinations here? Well, Newfoundland and Labrador is planning to announce more details early next week, but the first vaccine is expected to arrive within days. The Premier says they're aiming to do much of the vaccination in school, but there will be other options.
One of the biggest barriers is convenience. So we want to make sure that we're giving the ability for people to get it as easy as possible. And so we're looking at a hybrid approach, recognizing that every family is different, school environments may be different, communities are different, and so you can't really have a cookie cutter approach.
Well, it's been 1 month since the vaccine passport has come into effect, and there was certainly plenty of speculation in the days leading up to the province's Vax Pass. But what's the word now that we're 4 weeks into this? Here Now's Meg Roberts spoke with some businesses to get their take.
It's been 1 month since Sandy Bennett started enforcing the vaccine passport at her women's only gym. She's lost 2 members in that time who weren't willing to get the passport, but she says other than that, the process has been a breeze.
There is really not much to it. You scan, and that little bit of piece of information goes away after 10 seconds.
On top of the COVID-19 sanitization rules she's been following, she feels the vaccine passport offers her and her membership even more protection from the virus.
And the fact that they can come in here and be safe, and I can feel safe with them, is a huge relief. I can honestly say since this pandemic came in, this is the most relaxed I've felt.
The Newfoundland and Labrador government says to date, 399,000 individuals have received a QR code. The province has also reached a significant milestone. 90% of those eligible have received both doses of the vaccine. That's one of the reasons why a downtown St. John's restaurant would like to see the Vax Pass program come to an end.
We don't need it. If you're asking my opinion, we don't need it. Definitely not.
The owner of India Gate says the pandemic has been challenging for small businesses. It doesn't help that he's had to hire an extra employee process QR codes 7 hours a day. He says it's been smooth, but he doesn't understand the point when unvaccinated people can enter his business, interact with staff, and use the machines to purchase takeout.
I will do my duty as I require to, that's about it. But hopefully they can make that decision that cancel this as soon as possible.
During the briefing this week, Minister Haggie said the vaccine passport is not going to be permanent. The government says it's hoping to end the passport system by next June. Meg Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, staying with COVID news, there are 4 new cases in the province since the last update 2 days ago. 1 in the Eastern Health region and 3 are in Central. That makes 19 known active cases in the province. That's actually the lowest number we've had since the end of August. There are also a number of possible exposure sites, including the Springdale Foodland, the Deer Lake Irving Big Stop, and a Corner Brook Boston Pizza. Anyone who visited those locations should get tested. Details about the exposure dates and times are available on the government website.
Well, it's going to get easier and less expensive for fully vaccinated Canadians to make short trips out of the country. As of the end of this month, citizens and permanent residents won't have to provide a negative COVID test if returning to Canada within 3 days.
Canadians taking short trips of less than 72 hours outside of Canada will be able to return to Canada without having to take a molecular test.
A molecular test, commonly called PCR test, can cost as much as $300. There have been calls to eliminate the test ever since both Canada and the U.S. reopened the border to non-essential travel. Ottawa has also announced it will be recognizing more vaccines as of November the 30th.
Well, it certainly started cool, but it warmed up quite nicely today across the island. Take a look at those numbers. Into the teens, 14, 15 degrees for Deer Lake. In fact, it's still, the Burin Peninsula is still some of the warmest temperatures across the country at the moment. And then those temperatures up across Labrador still minus about 1 in Lab City and 3 degrees right now in Cartwright. Temperature so far today in St. John's is about 9 degrees, but that will warm up as we head through the evening hours tonight. Take a look at what happened in Corner Brook earlier. It's hovering into the teens this afternoon, but then a sharp drop in temperatures thanks to a wind shift out of the westerlies, and that's because of this cold front. So that cold front is going to work its way across the province. Winds are going to pick up, and then some rain will move in as well as we head through the evening hours tonight. Wind warnings in place from the Canagra Peninsula, Burin Peninsula, as well as the Southern Avalon. You'll see those southerly gusts upwards of about 100 kilometers per hour. I'll get into the timing and tell you how much rain coming up.
All right, thank you, Ashley. The family of a man killed in a St. John's penitentiary is now suing the government. Jonathan Henoch was sent to HMP in 2019, accused of killing 88-year-old Regula Shuley in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. 9 correctional officers have been charged in relation to that death. Now, Hinook's family is seeking damages in a civil lawsuit alleging that the prison failed to meet his disability needs, and they say the prison was understaffed, its officers undertrained, and that they failed to give Hinook medical treatment that may have saved his life. No word on how much compensation the family may be looking for.
It's been almost 3 weeks since a cyber attack took out key healthcare infrastructure, and neither the Prime Minister nor other key federal ministers, like the Minister for Emergency Preparedness or the Minister of Health, have spoken publicly about the attack. Well, today the regional minister for this province says they've been asked to stay quiet, but that doesn't mean they're not helping.
Full weight of the federal cybercrime units and our intelligence communities have been behind this from the get-go.
Why hasn't the Prime Minister been out saying, we're not going to stand for this. This is an attack on a province's health system. Canada is doing exactly what you're saying now. Why not say? Why wait 3 weeks to make that statement?
Well, I mean, this is something that I acknowledged, frankly, on media, I think 2 weeks ago. So I don't think it's entirely fair to say that I haven't been saying it. I have been saying it. We've just been expressly quiet about it because at the end of the day, I'm not really interested in making a statement about the federal government. I am interested in making sure that we look after the patients and the people and the privacy of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, and we do that by supporting the province in every way that we can.
Now, the minister was speaking at an event for affordable housing. The federal government and the province have combined cash to offer up $1.5 million to various local groups. Called the Provincial Housing and Homelessness Partnership Fund, the money will be divided between 7 groups, among them Stella Circle, the town of Happy Valley Goose Bay, the Salvation Army Centre for Hope, who played host to today's announcement. The Army's new building in downtown St. John's will be offering up 20 beds to people in the community thanks to the funding.
Now we're able to move on and take the next step with this funding in opening up the units that we have been long anticipating to get open and get our people into these units. And so we're so grateful for the support of our federal and provincial government with this announcement today, as this finally positions us to take the next step in housing the people of our community that need these places for their home.
All right, some Friday night gremlins getting in the way, hence I'm over here and now I'm there. Some other stories now. The 9th season of Spirit Song Festival is now underway. Spirit Song is a multi-day event that celebrates Indigenous arts and culture, showcasing Indigenous artists and their work.
The event kicked off with an Inuit throat singing workshop at the Arts and Culture Centre yesterday, and we were there to take it in. Have a look.
I was invited to share Inuit throat singing, katajak, to a group of Inuit women. Our type of throat singing is done by 2 women. When 2 women sing together, they are imitating the sounds of the environment. Sounds like birds, the river, the wind. Not at the same time. It was very common to sing together when the men used to go out hunting, and women would stay together with the kids, and the kids would be listening to their mothers and their aunties and their sisters singing, and it was just very soothing and very playful. I'm trying to think, how can I go deeper in my throat and in my breath? I learned from elders who took the time to share with the younger generation on how to do this, what is called art now, a performing art. One thing that's really important is that I only teach Inuit. The elders said this has to stay within our culture. It's so intimate and it's such an important part of our way of expressing ourselves that it's only meant for Inuit. In the past, I've taught katajak to kids, to adults. Many of us will use it as a way of paying respects to our elders and our ancestors, but also showing the world how special Inuit performance is. When we're performing to non-Inuit, it gives them more insight on how we lived and how resilient we were and still are, and how strong we are and how connected we are to our environment.
Well, it's going to be a rainy and windy night for most of eastern Newfoundland. Things are going to improve tomorrow. However, temperatures will drop. I'll get into the forecast details when I come back.
Well, it is the newest place to indulge your sweet tooth in downtown St. John's, but for the owner of Craig's Cookies, it means bringing the business home, sweet home.
Times are hard, so whatever I can do as a business owner to help everybody out, that's really important to me.
Ashley, I know you're normally the one with the weather explanations, but I can tell you why it was warm today. Because I got my snow tires put on today. So that will be the sign for there to not be any snow for the next week, because that's usually the way it works for me.
There you go. Well, forecast is done then.
So you're welcome for the warm. If you enjoyed the warm weather today, you're welcome.
Yeah,
but it's not going to last.
No, it's not going to last, unfortunately. We're looking at these temperatures much warmer today across the province, well, across most of the province anyway. Let's take a look at those numbers. This is the temperature difference from the same time yesterday. So look at that. Even parts of Labrador, 12 degrees warmer in Mary's Harbour. St. Anthony, 11 degrees warmer. At this point, it's 16 degrees warmer in Badger, and then in St. John's, it's 10 degrees warmer. So let's take a look at those temperatures right now. Anywhere from 3 to 7 degrees for southeastern Labrador. And you did see that change over to rain earlier today, and then temperatures right now through central into the double digits. Gander at 12 degrees, Bonavista at 10, St. John's at 9, but those temperatures are going to warm up, or at least should warm up another degree or two as we head through the evening hours tonight. And then that cool down for the west coast. The reason for that is this area of low pressure and an extended cold front, and the warm front in that southerly flow is where we're seeing those warmer temperatures. So once that cold front sweeps through, those temperatures are going to drop because we see that change in the wind direction, more westerly or northwesterly as we head through the night tonight. But out ahead of that, the winds are going to ramp up. So we do have those winds right now currently sustained somewhere between 40 and 50 kilometers per hour for the eastern half of the island, and those wind gusts a little bit stronger than that, about 60 kilometers per hour. But as we head through the night tonight, that wind warning in place. Canaveral Peninsula and the Burin Peninsula will see those winds pick up this evening. Exposed areas could see those gusts upwards of about 100 kilometers per hour, and then late evening and overnight is when the southern Avalon will see those winds gusting that high as well, again in the exposed areas. So expecting that rain to track across the island as we head through the night tonight, which will be heavy at times for most areas. As we get into after midnight, that's when we should start to see that rain. The heavier rain anyway for the Avalon, and then continue into the first half of tomorrow. At least we get back into that onshore flow with those cooler temperatures, and then that potential for some showers and or flurries will continue for the coastal areas. Now temperatures tonight, like I said, we're about 7 degrees in Corner Brook right now. They're going to continue to drop down to about within a degree or two of zero. Low-lying areas will likely reach the 0 degree mark. Same thing for the northern peninsula. So the showers should end, and then Labrador, you're looking at temperatures in and around -9 for Lab City with some flurries tonight, and then changing back over to flurries as those temperatures drop for southeastern Labrador. Note that temperature at St. John's about 10 degrees, and that will continue through most of the night tonight. As far as rainfall amounts go, that's what we're looking at. Some areas seeing about 20 to 30 millimeters, otherwise generally 10 to 20. This will fall through tomorrow morning. And then as far as that goes, we'll see that cold front sweep through, and then in behind that, that's when those temperatures are dropped. So that will continue through most of the afternoon, and then eventually either some sun or some cloudy periods, and then a few flurries possible, even some showers as well in the mix thanks to those cooler temperatures. And then not a whole lot happening up across Labrador, actually looking like a pretty nice day for you. And as far as those temperatures go, this is where you should be sitting in the morning. 5 to 8 degrees, and then by the time the afternoon rolls around, with those winds shifting to the northwest, about 20 to 40 kilometers per hour, those temperatures will drop into the single digits, likely just a few degrees above zero. We'll see a similar cool down through central. Again, can't rule out the chance of some showers and or flurries through the day. Better chance of flurries will be on the west coast. Those winds again out of the northwest. Same thing for the northern peninsula. Southeastern Labrador looking beautiful tomorrow. Sunshine, or at least a mix of sun and cloud. Maybe a few flurries in the morning, but overall a fairly nice day, although much cooler. -2 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay, -6 in Lab City tomorrow. And those winds will still stay breezy for the north, gusting out of the west about 40 to 60 kilometers per hour. So things will stay cool for Sunday, and then we're going to see another warm up for the week. I'll get into that when I come back.
children.
You must understand, young woman, that you work for us and not the other way round.
But you would like to tell me how I must go about teaching the children to read.
I've told you what it is we want you to do, and that's enough.
Please, Mr. Clarence, would you take a look at this?
You'll not bother me with that.
No, but you see, sir, your son read this today. It is quite a difficult passage. It is from the Bible. This is what I use to teach him to read.
Ah, Mr. Clarence, why don't you just read it then?
Both of you know I cannot read a word.
Throughout most of our history, millions of Canadians have owed their education to young women who taught in one-room schoolhouses, much like this one.
Nova Scotia. 13 are in the central zone, 7 are in the western zone, 6 are in the northern zone, and there is 1 new case in the eastern zone. There are now 223 active cases of the virus. 15 people are in hospital, including 7 in the ICU. And we've got Jay Scotland in for Ryan tonight, and some weather advisories I see behind you.
Yeah, notice Ryan leaves on a Friday and leaves me with the news to deliver. But I will say this is a good weekend because as we head into it, weather-wise, a good weekend for preparation, as we could be looking at some strong winds and some very heavy rain across much, if not all of the province, starting on Monday. So take advantage of the nicer conditions on your Saturday to clear the downspouts, and check the storm drains if you've got one near your home. And if you've procrastinated on the Halloween decorations, putting them away, or maybe got an early start on Christmas decorations, might want to secure those as well. So you can see all 3 Maritime provinces under a special weather statement. This is for rainfall of 60 to over 100 millimeters of rain. And I will say some of the forecast model guidance is showing parts of Nova Scotia with well over 100 millimeters of rain possible. Timeline will be Monday through Wednesday, and some very gusty winds from 60 to 90 kilometers per hour. Coastal areas, gusts beyond, well beyond 100 kilometers per hour will be possible. So localized flooding, outages, basement flooding, big concern. So do take that time. We also have a weather advisory in effect as we look from Pictou County all the way up through Inverness and Mabou, as we have a snow squall watch in effect. This is as cold northwest winds will be producing some snow squalls tonight. And we could see anywhere from 10 to over 20 centimeters. Very narrow bands of accumulation possible. There's a look at our high temperatures today. Very misleading, as much of the day we were falling from that high as the winds did shift to the west and northwest. And as we look to tonight, there's the onshore flurry potential. You can see that heavier snow at elevation, but really good chance for some accumulating snow into Saturday morning through much of the afternoon as well, until those winds do eventually die down and ease. Now, that's not going to be a major weather event for the province. Very clear conditions for southern areas, but just know Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, very wet, very windy conditions on tap.
Yeah, enjoy the weekend while it lasts. All right, thanks, Jay. We'll talk to you in a bit. A man accused in a murder in Dartmouth last weekend has turned himself in. A warrant was issued yesterday for 27-year-old Tyrese Alexander Winder Ewing. He's accused of second-degree murder in the death of Alexander Joseph Frederick Thomas, who was found dead in a home in Dartmouth Saturday morning. Police say the suspect surrendered to police in Toronto. He will be brought to Nova Scotia to appear in provincial court at a later date. People who live in the Parsborough area will soon have local access to treatment for urgent health concerns. The province announced today it will open an urgent treatment centre in mid-December in the South Cumberland Community Care Centre. The centre is open to those without a family doctor or family practitioner. It will provide for care for people with health concerns that are not considered life-threatening but need to be treated immediately, such as earaches, sore throats, minor strains and sprains. The wait list for Nova Scotians looking for a family doctor is at a record high. As of November 1st, more than 81,000 people were on the list, up by more than 60% from the same time last year. Well, we are hearing for the first time tonight from Canada's new Minister of Fisheries and Oceans on Indigenous fishing rights, marine protected areas, and other hot-button issues. Joyce Murray made her first trip as Minister into Atlantic Canada this week to meet with provincial governments, industry, Indigenous leaders, and environmentalists. She also spoke with the CBC's Paul Withers.
The Vancouver MP lives up to her billing as an environmentalist.
What Atlantic Canadians will get is a minister who is utterly committed to the regeneration, restoration, and protection of stocks, so that we have abundance and diversity of opportunities for people.
These days, she's been getting up to speed on more immediate files. Treaty fishing rights tops the list. Supreme Court of Canada rulings in the Marshall case recognize the Mi'kmaq right to earn a moderate living from fishing, subject to management by the federal government. That authority is not accepted by the Sipekne'katik Band in particular, which has launched its own self-regulated lobster fishery, as has the Pictou Landing Band. Have you read the Marshall decisions?
I am aware of the Marshall decision.
Is that a no?
It's a yes to that I am aware with the key elements of the Marshall decision.
She reaffirms Ottawa's position that it has the authority to regulate the moderate livelihood fishery.
The legal decisions are clear that moderate livelihood fisheries is an important component of the fishery. Paul, we have the obligation to regulate the sustainability of the fisheries, and so that means we have a hand in all of the components, and we are working closely and collaboratively with the Mi'kmaq nations.
This year, the department restarted consultations to create more marine protected areas. Murray would not say whether one of the more controversial candidates, Eastern Shore Islands, will be designated to meet a 2025 target. Lobster fishermen fear it could shut them down despite repeated assurances to the contrary from DFO.
Going to really single out any particular marine protected area. The program is incredibly important, and it's important to hear the voices of all of the stakeholders as we move forward.
Aging fishermen in the Maritimes who want to sell their Class B or part-time lobster licenses are out of luck.
I have no plans to change the current process, which is that these licenses are not saleable or inheritable.
So too, it would seem, are the thousands of fishing boat crew facing a clawback of the fish harvester benefit. DFO says that they were salaried employees who were ineligible because the COVID relief program was for self-employed fishermen.
If people received something they weren't entitled to through whether it is intentionally or not intentionally, we expect that to be repaid to the taxpayers of Canada.
There will not be a decision anytime soon on who will get to catch the massive amount of redfish or ocean perch in the Gulf of St. Lawrence. Provinces are lobbying to get their share. Murray, though, says the department is in no rush to reopen the fishery. Paul Withers, CBC News, Halifax.
A business analyst says small local businesses may be in for a not-so-happy holiday season. Large commercial groups started advertising and marketing for Christmas early this year, and small businesses say they need more support. Matthew Moore reports.
You might not be in the holiday spirit yet, but Nova Scotia retailers are already jumping into high gear. Some stores say upwards of 60 to 70% of yearly sales come during the Christmas rush. A business professor in Halifax says he's noticed a different tone.
There seemed to be a lot more emphasis in 2020 on shop local than there has been so far this year. Someone should play a role. I think the Retail Association should be looking a little bit at this. Maybe the committee, maybe some of the associations that are there. I think maybe some municipal and/or provincial governments should be looking at maybe helping out here a bit. But the message has not been as loud and as distinct this year as it was last year in terms of shopping local.
What McHugh has noticed is that delivery trucks are already out in full force. He spotted Amazon Prime delivery vehicles through the HRM. He says there was great support to shop local last year, but he's worried there hasn't been as much advertising this year. In Cape Breton, a popular bookstore is decked out for the holidays. The shop's co-owner says she's noticed a similar silence.
Downtown Sydney Development Association is equally doing stuff, and I hope that the government provincially and federally, there's still interest in promoting the shopping like local. It is important. I know that not everybody can do it, and people have deadlines and stuff, but if you can, gosh, we're so grateful.
She says she appreciated the strong voice last year from the government, encouraging residents to shop in person at local businesses. One hurdle this year, Uma says, is around supply chain issues.
As well, there's a little bit of a backlog when it comes to things being delivered, just because there's a shortage of workers and things like that. So I think that that's on people's minds. It was on my mind when I ordered books for the store.
McHugh says looking at 2021 trends, he's expecting it to be another banner year for sales. Last year, sales in North America were up 5%. He's expecting it to be up 7 to 9% this year. Matthew Moore, CBC News, Sydney.
An update now on a story we brought you a few weeks ago. Hundreds of old cannonballs at the historic fortress of Louisbourg were sitting in storage. Some of them still contained centuries of old gunpowder. Here's Brett Ruskin with the latest.
Firing in 3, 2, 1.
Wait, hold on. This story starts with a bang, but it really began almost 300 years ago. Mid-1700s, French and British forces clash over this strategic spot, the fortress of Louisbourg.
So there were 2 wars that happened here. So it's not surprising that they were going to find a lot of our archaeological ammunition.
Over the years, staff here have unearthed cannonballs, some still filled with black powder. When they needed to move the collection this fall, they called in military experts to sort through and dispose of these historic pieces.
I hate to see these things go. I'd love to be able to keep them, but this is definitely up there in the cool factor.
Are you sad to see any of these go, or do you have enough that you don't feel too sentimental?
Well, we're always sad when we have to see things go, but we have approximately 500 cannonballs.
So the 100 or so that were showing signs of black powder were taken from the fortress to Canadian Forces Base Gagetown. But blowing up cannonballs isn't as simple as you'd think. The team packed explosives into specially shaped tubes
that we use to break through armor, or in this case, the outer shell of the cannonball.
They also kept a sample of the black powder to be sent to the RCMP's forensics lab in Ottawa for analysis.
I am absolutely fascinated. I've never heard of anyone having the opportunity to examine a historical black powder from before the 20th century, and I can't wait.
Sample extracted, cannonballs prepped, button pushed. The team says any unique fragments, which, as you can hear, some took more than 10 seconds to hit the ground, will be sent back to Louisbourg. Brett Ruskin, CBC News, CFB Gagetown.
Well, a family who recently moved to Nova Scotia brought all the usual things with them when you make a move, but they also brought something unusual. Their giant bunnies made the trip too. Colleen Jones has that story from Clementsport.
When Pierce Gray, partner Chris, and the rest of the family moved from the big city of Toronto to the tiny community of Clementsport, they packed their giant bunnies. These are continental giant rabbits, and now they live in this beautiful barn.
Toronto living. This is very different than Toronto living. We have multiple buildings and lots of space, fresh air.
There's Bjorn the Grey, Miss Paisley, the mama of these 10-week-old cuties, and Ragnar the Red-Eye.
His head looks as big as yours. His little paws are sticking out. He looks like he's falling asleep on you.
They are known as the largest rabbit in the world. How big do they get? Well, a lot bigger than the average dwarf bunny. The Guinness World Record is a 54-pounder. Pierce's love of continentals began about 5 years ago, impressed by their beauty and size.
Squishy, winter teddy bear, Sasquatch, cute thing.
But he also loved how easy they are to litter train and that they're oh so gentle.
It's one of the reasons they make a great support pet for people with autism or children with behavior issues, because a dog will get on you, a cat will get on you. An adult rabbit will do this, and they're very intuitive to behavior and stuff. And a rabbit will tend to give you a nudge, a very gentle nudge with their head to say, I'm here, pay attention to me.
These cuties even have their own Instagram page, Giant Canadian Bunnies. It's believed that they're the first continental bunnies in the province. The rabbits aren't the only unusual pets that live here.
Black rooster right here on the ground. That is an I am Samani. It's called a melanistic chicken. And then those 3 weird boys, they're the only of their kind in Nova Scotia. Those are called death layers. Hi, babies. Goose, goose. These are our Toulouse geese. Maud, Kathleen, and Lewis. Maud is the tiniest. Kathleen is the middle size, and Lewis is the biggest.
But none of these guys are rocking an Instagram account, at least yet. While he does breed the rabbits, he's in no rush to sell his babies. When he's ready, it will only be to the right owner. He never wants to see these guys winding up in a rabbit rescue. Colleen Jones, CBC News, Clementsport.
Too cute. Well, you know, a familiar face is back at Micmac Mall to greet shoppers over the holidays. Woody the talking Christmas tree has now officially returned. After some speculation, he was officially unveiled at the mall late this afternoon. Woody was retired back in 2015 over safety concerns. Well, now he's back and ready to greet shoppers young and old through the holidays. All right, a note for viewers in Newfoundland and Labrador, here and now. We'll be back after this commercial break. Here's what's coming up next on CBC Nova Scotia News. Coming up, some Nova Scotia artisans are seeing a boost in business thanks to issues with the supply chain. I talked to the executive director of Craft Nova Scotia about the push to buy local. Canadian Forces personnel and equipment arrive in Abbotsford, British Columbia as a new flood threat looms for the town. There's a peek at Fleming Park today. Jay is in next with the weather forecast. We will see you on the other side of the break.
And here we are. I want to apologize and to you, the viewers, and thank our colleagues in Halifax for taking over for quite a few minutes.
Yeah, had a few Friday night technical issues here in St. John's that knocked us off the air, but let's get back on track before we run out of time for today's show.
It's Friday, and so you know what that means.
Let's take a look at who's celebrating this week. Happy 60th anniversary to Beulah and Gordon Morgan of Seal Cove. Brian and Faye Haynes are celebrating 50 years of marriage today. They live in Deer Lake. Happy 60th anniversary to Lottie and Stan Mercer of Burgeo. Happy anniversary to Wilfred and Lynn Reed of Weybridge, Random Island, celebrating 51 years. Happy 59th wedding anniversary to Arch and Marie Rumbold from Mary's Harbour.
Happy 55th anniversary wishes to Fred and Rita Williams of Bay Bulls. Happy 57th anniversary to Verna and Louis Northcott. They look way too young there to be 57 years together. The next one is a big one. Happy 70th anniversary to Jack and Verna Baker of Brown's Arm. Congratulations.
Calva and Rita Barnes from Summerford are celebrating their 57th wedding anniversary, and Verley and Frank Hodanot in Embry are celebrating their 55th anniversary. Jim and Ann Hickey from Terrenceville are marking their 58th anniversary, and a happy 68th anniversary to Henry and Patricia Young in Grand Falls, Windsor. Happy 51st anniversary to Elias and Valerie White in Flat Bay. Happy 55th anniversary to Nathan and Marion Brace in Chance Cove. Happy 50th anniversary wishes to Noel and Elizabeth Hurley of North River.
Eric and Hazel Rogers of Lewisport are celebrating their 50th anniversary. It's also a 50th for John and Dinah Vatcher of Stephenville. Happy 62nd anniversary to Bob and Shirley Perry of Massey Drive. Wishing Dave and Lorraine Best of Cox's Cove a very happy 60th anniversary. It's also the big 6-0 for Dawn and Kay Windsor of Happy Adventure. Wishing Donald and Bertha Toraville a happy 65th anniversary. They're from Victoria Cove, Gander Bay. Happy 57th anniversary to Edgar and June, who live in Sandy Cove, Bonavista Bay.
And happy 50th anniversary to Dawn and Viola Burge from Glenwood. Wayne and Mary Lou Vokey from Goulds will celebrate their 50th anniversary tomorrow. Happy 72nd, yes, 72 years for Edith and Henry House from Bellburns. They now live in Corner Brook. Happy 55th anniversary to Harold and Nina Butt in Grand Falls, Windsor. Happy 63rd anniversary to George and Frances Bowles. They're from Ramia. Happy 60th anniversary greetings to Kay and Ted Boyd in Twillingate. And Stan and Gertie Walsh from Bay de Verde celebrated their 59th wedding anniversary. Congratulations.
Happy 63rd anniversary to Pat and Agnes Kenny of Deer Lake. Happy 50th anniversary to Wallace and Fern Beck, formerly of Happy Valley Goose Bay, now living in Appleton. Wishing Charlotte and Robert Bull of Gambo a happy 52nd anniversary. Another big milestone, happy 75th anniversary to Anne and George Gamberg, formerly of St. John's, now living in Victoria, British Columbia. Congratulations on 3/4 of a century together. Happy 61st anniversary to Lorne and Doreen Squires, formerly of Carbonear, now living in Mount Pearl. Greetings to William and Alice Domino of Little Bay East. They're celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary. Happy 54th anniversary to Jerry and Peggy Stone of Lewins Cove. They're going to celebrate on the 21st.
Wishing Leander Regular from Mings Bite a very happy 90th birthday. On to birthdays, obviously. Happy birthday also to Lillian Park, who turns 95 tomorrow. Happy 93rd birthday to Lillian Power of Gull Island, Conception Bay. And wishing Edna Manuel a very happy 90th birthday. She is from Deer Lake, now lives in Stephenville. Happy 94th birthday to Grace Hancock. She lives in Forto. Happy 90th birthday to Ellen Byrne from Conch. And happy birthday to Mary Skeffington, who is turning 91. Mary lives in Corner Brook.
Happy 97th birthday to Joseph Hancock from Fogo Island, now living in Brown's Arm. Olive Perry is celebrating her 94th birthday. She lives in St. John's. Happy 90th birthday to Fred Baldwin, formerly of Victoria, now living in Harbour Grace. Happy 95th birthday to Annie Baker of Newman's Cove. She now lives in Bonavista. Congratulations to former Daily News publisher Bill Callahan of St. John's, who's celebrating his 90th birthday. Happy 97th birthday to Harold Pafford of Corner Brook, who is celebrating 97. Happy 91st birthday to Effie Smith, who lives in Grand Falls, Windsor.
And happy birthday to Adele Cheeseman, who celebrated her 97th birthday, originally from Raccoon and Duracell. Adele now lives in St. John's. Birthday wishes to Selby Moss on his 90th birthday. Selby was born in Happy Adventure and now lives in Gander. Wishing Isabel Power of Cupid's a very happy 100th birthday. She enjoys time with her family as well as a game of cards.
Big congratulations.
Yes, congratulations once again. Going to try and squeeze in a long-range forecast for you because it looks pretty good. Temperatures are going to warm up as we get to the end or to the middle of next week, looking at about 10 degrees for St. John's and Eastern Newfoundland as we get into Wednesday. Some nice weather in between that as well. Monday, Tuesday looking fairly nice with a mix of sun and cloud. And then for central Newfoundland, you're looking at a similar warm up as we get to midweek and some nice days in between 3 to 8 degrees for the beginning of the week. And then for western Newfoundland, looking a little bit more on the gray side. Temperatures will be warming up into the single digits, but that rain will continue. It looks like that for Wednesday as well. Temperatures even climbing even more, it looks like, for Wednesday night with periods of rain. Then for eastern Labrador, you're looking at an unsettled start to the week with the chance of showers and or flurries by the time we get to midweek. And then flurries the story for western Labrador as well. Maybe a few peaks of sun by the time we get to Wednesday, but those temperatures will drop below zero yet again. Great shot of the moon rising over Nain yesterday. Peggy shared this great shot with us. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the lunar eclipse last night thanks to the cloud cover, but it was certainly a beautiful start to that. And if you have any weather photos that you would like to share with us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
What a beautiful pic there.
Lovely shot.
Yeah, a lot of people got up early to see it this morning. Here did not have a lot of luck, however.
Nope.
To see that lunar eclipse.
Not at all.
Kind of glad we can see anything right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do want to thank you for sticking with us through the technical difficulties. It seems kind of ironic with the amount of coverage we've been doing about technical troubles in the healthcare system that fortunately much more minor ones that we've had tonight, and we were able to get back on the air with you.
We paid the ransom, they put us back on the air.
Oh,
There you go.
Anthony.
That's a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke. Don't call your MP or MHAs.
No.
Anyhow, our apologies. It's too bad that things happened the way they did.
But we will have all the great stories that we promised you. We're going to save them. We're going to have them for Monday's show.
All right. We'll see you on Monday.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend.